Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. It's time for some more new releases. So we got some new stuff from Paco Rabanne, from Hermes, Hugo Boss, and also Yop. Everybody all about the Yop. I know that's what everybody is hyped for, Yop Life. So I've got 4 new fragrances that are going to be hitting stores very soon or already have. So let's jump into it, break these down, and see what you have to look forward to. Part of me loves having these new fragrances be announced because it gives me more stuff to look forward to, more stuff to cover, and hopefully find some awesome new fragrances for this year. And then the other part of me is just thinking, right, but when are these actually going to come out? Because with the whole supply chain issues, I talked about this in the past, but they aren't really hitting like they used to. Used to be you would have something announced, and then not long after, you could get it. Nowadays, they announce it and they go, it'll be available probably sometime, maybe, probably. It's almost like the new Corvette. The new Corvette was announced and a lot of people were going, oh man, I can't wait, I'm gonna get one of those, only 60 however much grand, which is still a lot of money. But anyway, a lot of people were saying, oh, I'm gonna get that Corvette, get that Corvette, get that Corvette, and then they just can't make enough. So it's almost impossible to find one unless you want to pay insane prices. And now we're getting our version of that in the fragrance world. Anyway, first let's talk about Boss Bottled Marine from Hugo Boss. This one is already available in the US. And actually a few people have already covered it and I've already ordered it. So yeah, but in case you're unaware of this one, let's quickly run through it. Hugo Boss here doing things differently than most other brands in that they announced it and then like the next day it was already available. A lot of these brands are announcing it and then who knows? Escape to cooler climates this summer with our new Boss Bottled Marine Eau de Toilette. The revitalizing fragrance opens with a burst of frozen apple, leading to warm woody notes, bringing a unique freshness to the iconic Boss Bottled scent. I mean, they're telling you pretty much everything you need to know with the name, Boss Bottled Marine, so a fresher, potentially aquatic take on Boss Bottled. So I feel like they've done something like that before, but it escapes me what that is. So with this one, we have a top of frozen apple and mint, mid of cinnamon and clary sage, and base of patchouli and cashmere. Now, I haven't smelled this yet, and I haven't watched any of the reviews yet because I don't want it to color how I view the fragrance when I get it in. Do think it's interesting that there's no aquatic note when the fragrance is named marine, but I'm expecting there to be kind of an aquatic or fresh, watery kind of feel to the scent. Obviously, what jumps out the most is the frozen apple instead of just straight up apple, so I'm assuming this is going to be less apple pie-like than the original Boss Bottled. Hugo Boss, one of those companies that never shies away from pumping out flankers. Boss Bottled constantly has new releases coming out. Some of them are crappy, but then you also have some that are really nice. Hopefully this is one of those. Now let's talk about the new Paco Rabanne Invictus Platinum. You know I'm not the hugest fan of the Invictus line. I really like Invictus Victory a bunch, but on the whole, not my favorite. I've got to say, and I'm not saying this as a hater, but man, that bottle looks terrible. It looks so stupid. It looks like you took Invictus, then you took some clip art, and you just slapped it on the front. Like Windows 98 wings slapped on the front of the bottle. They were like, yeah, it's Invictus Platinum, whatever. It gives you wings. It's like Red Bull, but Platinum, Invictus. Invictus Victory was a great surprise. I loved it. I wasn't really necessarily hyped for it, but when it came out and I smelled it, I was like, this is exactly what I like. So I'm going into Invictus Platinum hoping that it's gonna be awesome, but looking at that bottle, I don't know. I think they maybe would have been better off with a gradient, you know, like a platinum gradient that gets darker or lighter depending on how the fragrance is supposed to come across as the gradient goes down. Maybe even make it a matte finish bottle, but slapping on those wings. Ugh. Paco Rabanne Invictus Platinum is for those who are always ready to take on the challenge. This expressive interpretation of the Invictus perfume is a new impetus to win. A challenge for fighters whose rage is their driving force to never give up. It's time not to stop yourself from winning. I don't know, that's intense. This is a fragrance which is a challenge for fighters whose rage is their driving force to never give up. That sounds like an 80s action movie, like the plot to an 80s action movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Or maybe Sylvester Stallone, could be him too. And you know, now that I think about it, with that cheesy wing design on the front of the bottle, is this Invictus made for 80s action movies? That would make this the coolest Invictus ever. The nutty freshness of mint overflows with an elegant lavender scent. The refreshing scent of grapefruit and absinthe blends with the richer masculine accord of patchouli and cypress, making the aroma strong and multi-layered. Enjoy a wonderful combination of pure power and elegance. Take your trophies. For the first time, the Colt wings of the Invictus perfume adorn the trophy-shaped bottle. The glass, which was gradually darkened in gray, was crowned with the luster of chrome. Shine rise even higher. The Colt wings of the Invictus perfume. Right. This one's got a top of grapefruit and mint, mid of lavender and absinthe, and a base of cypress and patchouli. Next, let's talk about Yop Le Parfum, the newest Yop. One thing with Yop fragrances is a lot of times they're difficult to find in the US. You basically have to go through discounters, so you kind of have to wait until the fragrance gets into Fragrance Net or Fragrance Buy or whichever discounter you like to use, and then you can scoop it up. The positive about that is usually they're really cheap when they do get there. And sometimes you'll find them at TJ Maxx, Ross's, Marshalls, Burlington, places like that too. Introducing Yop Le Parfum, a fascinating scent with an ultra-sensual signature, the alliance of defiant chic and explicit addiction. The fragrance with ultra-sensual fougere gourmand character stands for the freedom of self-expression. Floral notes flirt with the senses, aromatic lavender invigorates and blends in the heart note with the precious iris accord. Vanilla, praline, and tonka provide for an unbridled aftertaste. Don't know about aftertaste as far as just a fragrance goes because they don't taste good. So this one has lavender, iris, vanilla, praline, and tonka. And looking at that note breakdown, it looks like it's going to lean pretty heavily into what is quite popular with modern men's fragrances. You've seen iris pop up more and more over the last number of years, and praline or caramel or chestnut, hazelnut, notes like that. I've talked about this a bunch. They've become much more popular. So to see this kind of mix of iris, vanilla, praline, tonka, it makes sense. It is also interesting to see Yop go down this path where they're just hitting those flankers each year. I mean, last year they came out with Yop Eau de Parfum, and now they have Le Parfum. So it's almost like Yop is looking at what Yves Saint Laurent is doing, and they're like, that's us now, baby. And let's go ahead and wrap things up with the new dHermes. It is the new dHermes Eau Givree. How do you like that pronunciation? Givree. Close enough. It means frozen. The heat of ice. A new eau de parfum, both fresh and intense. Created by Christine Nagel, Hermes perfumer, dHermes Eau Givree combines the vigor of citron and the incisive freshness of juniper with the power of Nepalese Sichuan pepper. The striking sensation of an icy breeze is juxtaposed with the generosity of the woody mineral notes characteristic of dHermes. Refillable and sustainable, the bottle combines glass with aluminum, two fully recyclable materials. As if cut from ice, the object is sleek and limpid. Limpid. It just means like transparent. It's sleek and transparent. Frosted glass and brushed aluminum evoke the notion of frost covering the earth. The H on its base is a subtle reference to the ancestry of a now cult object. What's with this? A cult. Ugh. dHermes Eau Givree explores a new territory where freshness and strength nourish each other. An icy cloak fertilizes the earth. So they're keeping it super simple as of right now. Top of citron, mid of juniper, and a base of Nepalese Sichuan pepper. So obviously the last big release for Hermes as far as mainline men's fragrances goes was H24. And that one is a bit divisive. Some people, like myself, don't really care for it. Other people think that it's amazing. And then there was before that dHermes Eau Intense Vetiver, which I think actually smells very good and was done by the same perfumer that's doing this one. One thing I find a little bit interesting here is I figured their next big release for men would be probably just a flanker of H24. And I think that's probably still coming in the not so distant future. But I figured they would go ahead and try to double up on that, you know, try to ride that wave from the original one, come out with a new flanker that maybe appeals to different people that the original didn't, and try to really set that new line in stone. But instead, we have a new dHermes coming out that looks like it's essentially a new, fresh imagination of the dHermes DNA. And I'm interested to see how the frozen aspect is going to come across, because that's happened before in a few different flankers. The one that pops into my mind immediately is Stronger with You Freeze, which took a gourmand fragrance that was quite powerful and dense, very sweet, and gave it this icy, fresh opening, which I very much enjoyed, but that fragrance didn't really seem to take off. So it'll be interesting here to see, can they pull it off? Can they indeed give it a very fresh, uplifting opening? And how is this fragrance going to perform? Like, what exactly is this going to be going after? Is this like the Hermes version of Dior Homme Cologne, for example? Or is it still going to be, at its heart, very woodsy and have a little bit of that flintiness from the original? Or does that all just get scrubbed out? Now, I know I said this has a top of citron, mid of juniper, and a base of Sichuan pepper. I would imagine the Sichuan pepper is not actually the base note. I would say these are just the 3 notes that we've been given is more likely. And when the full official note breakdown comes out, I'm expecting that there is going to be official woody notes in here. If not vetiver, at least something that is just a generic woody notes that they're going to put as the base. I mean, it can't really be dHermes without that. And that is the final fragrance that we're going to cover today on This Week in Fragrance. Of the 4 that I covered, the one I'm looking forward to the most is the Hermes, followed by probably the Paco Rabanne and then the Yop. I mean, the Yop, it could be very good. It's just, I think it's going to probably be a little difficult for me to find that. You know, I'm probably not going to be able to get my hands on it until next year or something. Let me know in the comments which of these 4 you're looking forward to the most. As always, thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.